I just got banned from the Sanders for President Reddit. My first post in Sanders for President got me banned from not one, but 2 separate subreddits. It wasn't even that bad. I'll prove it to you. Let's look at what they said and my response. Millions of Americans, do I buy my meds or go into overdraft? Or do I eat dinner and go into overdraft? The establishment, our amazing capitalist economy, is just amazing. Don't vote for that scary socialist. How about they get a job, Ben Dixon? You're advocating for the theft of people's resources. You get to steal from me because I get up every morning and go to work. You want to take my money and give it to people who refuse to go to work, people who like to sleep in. You're making good money advocating for this. Harnessing people's envy, focusing it, and using it to enrich himself. So there was a few responses to that. Sure, 80% of the company is living paycheck to paycheck or worse. Did you see the stock market's at an all-time high? I agree with their sentiment. The stock market's at an all-time high, but not everyone's being affected. I agree with it. But communism's not the answer. It's insane. It would lower everyone's standard of living. Even though a lot of the parts of the economy aren't getting the help that they would want, everyone's standard of living is insanely high. And it's way better than any socialist system would ever bring. Best economy in the history of the universe. Yeah, I get it. I get it. So the last response that I responded to was, this is the response I get all day from Trump supporters while texting. I really doubt all of those people are doing well financially. He's right. Not all Trump supporters are doing well financially, for sure. But we don't think it's right to demand that we get paid for work that we didn't do. We don't blame the system for our shortcomings. We blame ourselves and try to improve our own lives. So here's my response to that. That got me banned. Look at how we live. Our poor people have smartphones, internet, Xbox. Working a shitty job, which I have for a long time, can afford you an apartment, a car, air conditioning, maybe a vacation if you scrimp and save. We are all rich. Other countries don't live as rich as we do. So while you say paycheck to paycheck, look at the standard of living. I don't care what bullshit communist propaganda says. We have it great. You are all so blinded, you can't see how good we have it. Your answer is to flip the entire monopoly board upside down. I don't like a lot about our economy either. A lot is unfair. A lot of companies and practices should be illegal. A lot of people should be jailed. Something needs to be done about colleges charging exorbitant amounts for worthless degrees. It's hurting a lot of people. That being said, a lot of jobs are just not worth $15 an hour. If Bernie wins, the people with money still won't pay their taxes, and if it gets bad enough, they will just leave the country. Government cannot help the individual. They are incapable. I'm not even sure helping people is actually their goal. What I don't understand about the Bernie people is this. They rightfully hate and distrust unaccountable corporations. Power. So their solution is to give significantly more power to the most unaccountable corporation of all, the U.S. government. It doesn't make sense to me. I wrote this in good faith from my perspective. Help me understand your reasoning. That's it. That's all it took to get me banned from the Bernie for President subreddit. As I said in my final sentence, I wrote this in good faith from my perspective, and I want to understand your reasoning. I meant that. I don't understand these people, and I want to. My current perspective on all these far-left sheep, not the herders, but the sheep, is that they are angry and they don't think. I read a study a long time ago that said a surprisingly high percentage of the population do not have an inner monologue, meaning they don't have a voice in their head. This study stuck with me and caused me to question, if they don't have a voice in their head, how do they think? The way I think is literally with words in my head, talking things through as if I was talking out loud, but usually faster. Based on what I have seen with these socialists, I would like to see this inner monologue study cross-referenced with voting patterns. I genuinely wonder if a lot of these people have ever critically thought about anything. This idea is so foreign to me, and probably foreign to you as well, because right-wing people like to think about things and break them down. We actively remove emotion from the decision-making process and attempt to think through alternatives disconnected from personal emotions. I believe this leads to the best decision-making. These people are driven by emotion, and emotion completely governs their lives, and I think that's why a lot of the times they seem completely out of control. Since I'm no longer capable of communicating with these people, not to mention most of my communications with them in the past has only reinforced my preconceived notions, my final analysis is this. These are a bunch of emotional people. Emotions are anger, rage, wrath, envy. They are driven by their emotions, and their emotions alone. They believe that their political ideology alone determines their value, and the simple act of voting or fighting for what they see as a righteous cause is true compassion and is enough for them to feel like a good person. They want to be judged based on their compassion. They want to be judged based on their intentions, not the results that are achieved. That is an afterthought. To them, trying is enough, or having their heart in what they think is the correct place is what's important. This is drastically opposite of the right-wing brain. We are typically results-driven people who see emotions as a detriment to good and informed decision-making. In my opinion, that describes the sheep and the sheepdogs. They're one and the same. The sheepdog just being more insecure with a constant need to prove their righteousness. What about the herders? Grifters for the most part, profiting from keeping their entire flock in a prison of their own minds while they laugh all the way to the bank. It is detestable behavior for which they should be called out and mocked at every available opportunity. Am I surprised I got banned for this comment? Not at all, it's a Bernie forum. They don't want people questioning their ideas, but they're also authoritarians. They have zero room for dissent. But I really wanted to know. I wanted them to rationalize why it is a good idea to grant even more power to the most unaccountable body in the history of the world. How that could logically lead to anything but disaster for the individual. Perhaps there is no answer to come from these people. Frankly, I don't know what I was expecting. As a matter of fact, I guess I got exactly what I expected. If you like this video, sub to my channel. This is The World According to Tony. I'm Tony. Thanks for listening.